Thank you for asking. Okay, let's jump on. Yeah, thank you. Your wishes will definitely affect me for sure. Hi, Kalyan. Guru garu ani. Okay, good. So l- let's jump on. So what did we discuss in our last class? Yes, let's have a small shootout round there. Um, so IAM is global or regional? IAM is global. Okay, and IAM is free or charge? IAM is free. And can you agree? Do you agree that IAM is used to secure the entire AWS environment by giving proper permissions? Yes. And you know very well there are two types of users: root user and IAM user, right? And root user is super user, and IAM user is having limited permissions. And we can create multiple users, IAM users, and we can give proper permissions to them, right? Proper policies to them. And is it recommend to share your root account, email, and password to others in order to access? No. What should we do for that? You need to create an IAM user for that and give the proper permission. And how do you secure an AWS account? By setting up MFA, multi-factor authentication. I need to install the Google app and then configure. So this MFA is for root account or only for IAM user or for both? For both. And there are how many types you can access AWS? Two types. What are those? Console and programmatical access. So console access, you know very well, you will be logging with the email ID and password or username and password. And whereas the other programmatical access, guys, how do you authenticate programmatical access? Using keys. Keys meaning what? Access key and secret key. Access key and secret key. And what is the example of programmatical access that we commonly use? CLI. How many keys you can have per user maximum? Two set of keys. Once, is it good to create the keys unnecessarily? No. And if the user IAM user has EC2 permissions, the keys will also have the same permissions. Yes, keys will also have the same permissions. And once, so secret key will be visible how many times? Only one time. So once the key is lost or you forgot to copy, to access root account and root keys? Definitely no. Not good. So you should not use the root account and you should not use the root keys. Instead, you need to create IAM user and then you need to create a keys for that particular IAM user. So everyone have the root account now. So isn't it recommended to create an IAM user with your own name and give the proper permissions instead of using root account of yours? Yes. Nice. So this is what we have discussed in our last class. So let's jump on to today's topic, which is, can you please confirm, can you see my screen and can you hear me well? So the topic is next here, IAM groups. Or is that IAM groups? So guys, in general, what is group meaning? Group. What is IAM group or what is group in general? What is group? Collection of people or multiple people together, collection of members here. So here, as we are talking about IAM groups, can we say this collection of IAM users? Collection of IAM users is nothing but IAM group. Yes. Example, here we have I create IAM users. So what are the users that I can create? We have Hari, we have Sheetal, we have Sagar, Santosh. Right. Me, what kind of permissions? As usual, you give for EC2 for this guy, and for Sheetal, we give for Sagar, we give RDS, and for Santosh, we give EFS, for example. So can we give the permissions like this? So I have written only 4 users. So I can create multiple dozens, right? Yes. So now let's say, for example, all these people here, 4 or 10 people are in this. All these people, for 10 people which are in the same team, I need to give, for example, Route 53 permissions. So is it good that if I go and give Route 53 permissions for each and every user individually? No. So what do we create for that? Yes, we create IAM group. We create IAM group. So we create an IAM group called, let's say, for example, this IAM group are related to DevOps. Okay, this team is DevOps. I create a group called DevOps, and for the group level also, I need to give the permissions. Na? From group level, I need to give the permissions. Let's say for group, I will give Route 53 permissions. And what I do for all these people, I will add this to this group. All these people, I will add all these people to this group. Understood? So once I add all these users to the group, so now you tell me, each and individual users will automatically get its Route 53 access? Yes? Yes, every user will automatically get Route 53 access. So in this procedure, can you tell me the individual permissions will be lost? No. Is their individual permissions will never be lost. You understand? So can I create another group called admin, for example? I can give any names to the group. I can create any names, right? So here I create a users called Sajia and Shravani and Nitesh. I'll create the users like this, right? And then I can add all these users to the group. Yes. And these people will be the admin for the account. So we can have multiple admins also, no? Yes, we can have multiple admins as well. Is it clear? So all in all, can we say that IAM group is nothing but collection of IAM users? IAM group. What is IAM group? So you can say collection of IAM users is called an IAM group. Right. And guys, now you create a DevOps group. Is it possible to create a subgroup inside the group? No. No. Answer is no. Guys, here you need to create multiple groups. You need to create different group, individual groups. You cannot create group under group. It's not possible. So guys, group under groups are not possible. That meaning nested groups are not possible. I'll come to all those points, Nikhil. And can you tell me one IAM user or a group can have multiple policies attached? What is your answer? Yes, it is possible to attach multiple policies to the IAM users and groups also. How many maximum you can add? Maximum 10 policies. How many? Maximum how many policies that you can add per user or per group? 10. If we need more than that, create multiple groups and then add the policies. Right? And can you attach and detach the policies to the IAM users and groups anytime? You can attach and detach policies to the IAM users and groups anytime. Yes. So guys, if you attach any users to the group, their individual policies will remain same. Yes or no? If you attach any user to the group, his or her individual policies remains same and the new permissions will be inherited to the IAM user. IAM. Agree? And can you tell me, can you assign keys to the group? Is it good to assign keys to the group? Guys, you cannot even create. You cannot assign or create keys to the groups. We see, Siddharth, we'll see. No keys to the group. So keys are only for IAM users, not for groups. So can we simply say that IAM groups are used to assign policies to the bunch of IAM users at the same time? Can we say that in simple format? Groups meaning? Yes. And can you tell me one IAM user can be in multiple groups at the same time? Can be attached to multiple groups at the same time. Possible. One user can be in multiple groups. Definitely possible. Guys, for a fresh new IAM user, do we have any permissions for brand new user? No. So for a brand new IAM user, there are no permissions by default. You have to provide, guys, by default, how does the AWS know what kind of permissions to other users will have? So there will not be any permissions by default. You should give the permissions. You should give the permissions. Is it clear till here? And all the time I'm talking about the policies. So guys, what is policy? Policy is nothing but permissions only, na? Policy is nothing but is nothing but permissions. But here permissions. Guys, policies is nothing but I'm telling you, see. It's right. Policies meaning policies documents. So policy documents. Yeah, I understand. My voice is breaking, right? Okay. That's a very for a short time. That's fine. Can you hear me now properly? Yes. So policies are nothing but policy documents, right? So how does what is a policy? So guys, policy contains simply in simple format, you can think it of policies contain one second. Quality contain policies contain permissions. Just a second. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. So policies contains permissions. Policies contains permissions. So guys, AWS, whenever you create an IAM user, AWS has a predefined policies already available. So let's say here for Hari, we have given EC2 permissions, right? So there will be a policy called, let's say for example, or you have given S3 permissions, right? So there will be a policy called S3 full access, or there will be a policy called S3 read only access, like this. There will be a policies already, yes, like a template. Policies, it's like a template, right? But remember that policies or permissions are written in JSON format. What format? Permissions or certification question. Policies are written in JSON format. Everyone write down JSON format. The policies or permissions are written in JSON format. So these templates are already available. The AWS will provide you or many default templates, which has the JSON code already available inside that. Like, but remember, AWS can give you the templates only for full access and read-only access. Let's say, for example, I have created a user called Hari, and I want Hari to launch EC2 instance, but he should not have access to launch ELB, to create ELB. This kind of customized policy will be provided by AWS by default, readily available? No, because AWS will never know what kind of permissions or policies that the customers need, that we need to go and create our own policies in JSON, right? So here there are two types of policies. There are two types of policies. One is called managed policy, right? And another one we call it as inline policy, right? Managed policy. Java people put what is the full form of JSON? There are two types of policies. What are those? Managed policy and inline policy. So what is this? JavaScript object notation. Yeah, that's true. So managed policy meaning is these are all the policies created and managed by AWS. The one which I said default templates. The one which I said default templates. Default templates. So created and managed by AWS default templates. So these are available. Those are called managed policy like S3 full access, EC2 full access, VPC full access, read only. So mostly AWS will give you full access or read only access. That's it. It cannot give customized policy. Guys, the customized policy, who has to create it? Customer has to create it. That policy is nothing but inline policy. So created and managed by customer. Created and managed by customer. This can also be called customer managed policies. So if the customer is creating based on his requirement, then that is called inline policies. So many people now already started panicking that, sir, do we need to learn JavaScript and all? Guys, no need. So I don't like to go with the PPTs at all, but to show you one, the JSON sample template, I'm opening it. Okay. I don't know. I don't like to go with the. Okay. Do you see this? So guys, this looks like JSON format. Do you see this? This here version statement block will be version and statement block will be common. Version, this is AWS provided version, and statement you need to write it. So here effect, what you are planning to do, you want to deny it or you want to allow it. So we are allowing it. Action. So guys, what is the thing that you are allowing to access it? EC2 colon describe instances or EC2 colon describe images. So forget about all these things. Describe instances meaning, so if you attach this policy, guys, if you attach this policy to any user, he can see all the EC2 instances. Nothing else he can do. He can only see the EC2 instances. He cannot launch. He cannot do anything. You are giving only access to a particular user called admin. User called admin. And guys, this is called ARN. What is that? ARN. Write down Amazon Resource Name. What is that called? ARN. Amazon Resource Name. Everyone should write down certification question. Amazon Resource Name. Amazon Resource Name. So guys, if you create any user or if you create any group or if you create any EC2 instance or if you create any load balancer, if you create any AWS resources, how do you identify programmatically? How do you identify that programmatically? Using ARN. So if you create a user called admin, so ARN will be automatically generated by AWS. So like this is ARN, AWS, IAM. So whenever you create any AWS account, you will get a you will get an account number. This is the account number of yours, and then user has created and username is admin. So this is the resource. Understood? So this is the resource. So you are giving this permission only to this particular resource. So guys, like this, no, it's not a barcode and all. It's just a resource. How to identify a resource. Forget about this. Describe instances. So instances, how many instances are there? It is describing. So it's not good to go there. That's why I don't like to show there all these things. Unnecessary, you get confused. So guys, do you understand now what is ARN meaning, or what is inline? What is JSON format look like? How the JSON formats look like? Yes. So one good thing for you is here, guys. You no need to learn or you no need to do it from scratch. So guys, AWS is providing something called Visual Editor or policy generator. So AWS has invented a service here. Is something called visual editor or policy generator. What this will do is you just need to select what exactly that you need. Based on the selection, JSON code will be automatically generated. You no need to write it from scratch. You just need to select what you just need to select the all this. You want to create that, this and all. You select what all the things as the parameters you need to select it. And based on the parameters, automatically JSON will be generated. But it's not a very hard to write the JSON. Just modifying that is more than sufficient. Understood? Permissions and resource level permissions. So permissions, user-based permissions and resource level permissions. There is a question, sir, is it necessity to learn a coding in AWS? For now, no. But if you want to grow up, if you want to go high, bigger experience, definitely automation is required, kada, Hari. So it is good to know one scripting language. But in my course, it's not required. So guys, there are two types of, Python is best. So there are two types of things, user-based permissions and resource level permissions. So guys, user-based permissions, meaning you will give generally like this, EC2 full access, S3 read-only access, like this, right? But resource level permissions meaning granular, granular level, that meaning deeper level, granular level, that meaning deep level, customized permissions. So you can do like this also. So this guy Nitesh or whoever it is here, Sagar, what he can do is Sagar can go and log into AWS account, but he can create the EC2 instances or launch the EC2 instance only in Mumbai region. He cannot have access to any other region. So like this customized deeper level, granular level, but we can do like this also. Let's say, for example, we have 100 EC2 instances, but Sagar can only stop only few EC2 instances. So like this customized Bhayanak deeper level permissions can also be written in JSON format. We need to write all those code, all those JSON code. Now you tell me here, in user-based permissions, do we get managed policies or inline policies in user-based permissions? Managed or inline? Yes. Here we get managed policy, and for in here, resource level meaning inline policy. Inline policy. So guys, remember ARN meaning Amazon resource name. Many people will confuse with number. So it is not number, it is name. Guys, if you see a girl in bus stop and you like a lot, and then directly we'll go and ask the number. Phone number. So a big fata ask, but not number. Remember, it is not number, only name. Amazon resource name, not number. Is this clear till here, everyone? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Internet will not work all the time same as good all the time, right? That also not healthy maybe. Okay. The next concept here we need to talk about is IAM roles. What is that? Write down. IAM roles. Guys, you need to concentrate carefully here. So, can you tell me, is it possible to access AWS without credentials? Program. So, from console, definitely you need email ID and password. And programmatically, definitely you need what? Keys. So, without these two things, is it possible to access AWS? Definitely no. So, but roles meaning here temporary access without credentials. So we can access AWS without credentials also. Interesting. How? Let me give an example. So you need to carefully understand this real-time example. See this. So EC2 instance itself. Now, okay. Why today it is fluctuating? Okay. So if my voice is breaking, just let me know. I'll repeat it again. Huh? So, okay, I'm repeating again. So I have an EC2 instance here, and that is Linux EC2 instance. Okay. Right. So can you tell me how do you log into the EC2 instance? What all the things that you need in order to log into EC2 instance? Guys, you need to have IP address, na? Instance IP. Okay. Instance username and instance password. Okay. Is it possible to log into the EC2 instance using your keys? Keys are only used to access AWS console or AWS services, and keys are not good to log into your machine. For machine, you need to definitely have username and password of the EC2 instance. IAM, or can you log into the EC2 instance with the IAM user? No, IAM user is used to log in or access to AWS console, not server or EC2 instance. Okay, na? IAM users are used only to access AWS console. For server meaning, for that you need to have a separate username and password. Okay, now as this is Linux environment, guys, from my Linux environment, you need to answer this carefully. This is a Linux environment. I want to access S3 from this Linux. I want to access what service? S3 service from this Linux environment. So what do I need to install here in order to access AWS services, meaning S3? CLI na? Guys, CLI na? Linux meaning programmatically na? Programmatically, right? So here I need to install AWS CLI. I need to install CLI. From command prompt only na, I need to access AWS services to the code. Okay, now I have installed AWS CLI here. And now tell me, how do I authenticate? What should I put it here in order to authenticate to AWS services? I'm using AWS CLI, and how do I authenticate in order to access AWS services? Using keys. So that meaning I need to configure the keys on the EC2 instance. Everyone agree? So guys, if you don't configure the keys on the EC2 instance, will you able to access AWS services like S3? No. But if you configure keys on EC2 instance, can you tell me the keys will be stored locally on the EC2 instance? Is it good to provide keys? Your keys will be stored on the locally on the EC2 instance. Someone can easily take it and hack it. Is it good? Hmm? I'm writing C. If you don't configure keys on Linux, you don't configure keys on Linux machine, you cannot access AWS services. Kada, Hena, right? And if you configure keys on Linux machine, keys are stored locally on the machine, which is not safe. Kada, Hena, because it might be hacked. Yes. So if you don't put the keys, you cannot access S3. If you put the keys, someone will hack it. What should we do in this case? For that reason, IAM role will come into picture. So guys, you need to create a role. You can create a role with the name, any name. Let's say, for example, let's say Kiran role. Kiran role. Hmm? So Kiran is a guy who is logging to the EC2 instance, and I'm creating a Kiran role. So whenever you're creating a role, you need to attach permissions to that role. Guys, here, can you tell me Kiran want to access what kind of services from the EC2 instance he want to access? S3. So while creating a role, you need to attach what permissions? You need to attach S3 policy. So whatever user want to access from the EC2 instance, you can attach those particular like S3, EC2. You attach policies to the role. And what you need to do to the EC2 instance, you need to create. Okay. Hold on. Voice gone. Huh? Can you hear me now? Huh? Okay. So do you all agree that I created a IAM role called Kiran role, just a name, and attach the permissions here, right? And what kind of permissions that I need to attach based on the user that you want to access? So those kind of permissions you need to attach to the role. Once you attach the permissions to the role, and now role is ready with these policies. And what you need to do, you need to attach this role to the EC2 instance. What you need to do, you need to attach that role to the EC2 instance. You need to attach. You need to attach this role to this EC2 instance. So once you attach this role to this EC2 instance machine, to this machine, guys, now whoever has logged into this EC2 instance, as the role is attached to it, and these kind of services will be accessible from the EC2 instance without credentials. You no need to configure keys. No need. Without keys, if you attach the role based on the permissions that you have attached to the role and those kind of access, he can have it from the machine. The role will take care of the security. Do you understand? Yes. Whoever want to access AWS, whoever want to access from the EC2 instance. Because guys, let's say for example, yes, I'm not talking about the policy. Can you attach policy directly to the EC2 instance? No, I'm attaching role to the EC2 instance. the roles can be attached to the EC2 instance, or not only EC2 instance, any service you can attach it. Roles will have policies, yes. So I'll write it, see. If we use the roles, we no need to configure keys on the machine. Agree? Okay. Based on the permissions that you have attached to the role, those permissions are available from the machine. Agree? Yes. I'll give you one more example, Sifa. I'll give one more example. I have an EC2 instance. Okay, I'm giving one more example. See, so this is the EC2 instance. I have EC2 instance, guys, and let's say I have deployed one application over here. Guys, can you tell me, developers, application sometimes definitely needs to talk to. Okay, let's say for example that application is written in Java or Python, whichever it is. Tell me, this application, Java application, sometimes will definitely needs to access AWS services now, like S3, in order to put some data, etc., etc. Your application need to access it now from the EC2 instance. Okay, so how does your application have access to the AWS service? Question. So will you provide keys in your? Will you provide the keys in your application? Is it good? Is it good to expose your keys in your application? No, not good. Then what you do for that? Simply create a role, and your application need to access S3 na, give the permission to it and attach this role to the EC2 instance where your application have. But now the Java application will have S3 permissions without keys. Now understood? Everyone clear? Non-IT? Okay. On the EC2 instance. So now remember, one EC2 one EC2 instance can have only one role attached at the same time. Yes? Yes? Yes. And I have one role. Can I attach one role to the multiple EC2 instance at the same time? Yes, one role can be attached. What is that Zoom link? Okay. Soham Kasar. Yes, that's what, Akash. Where are you? That's what I said. Without keys, you cannot access AWS, but we can access it now. How? Using the roles. That is a concept today. That's a concept I'm talking about. So one role can be attached to multiple EC2 instances at the same time. Hmm? Guys, okay, let me give you another example then. Odium. That's what I said. Nah, using the roles. If you're asking how meaning, answer is using the roles. Okay, now let us. Okay, now what should I? How should I? Let me think one more example for you. Okay, so let me give an example, guys. If you're okay, see, I have. Let's say we have two accounts. ఒకటి చిన్నది ఒకటి పెద్దది, not good for you. I'll put it both. Okay. Okay. See how these roles will be used. So the roles will be used in multiple ways. Okay, let's say for example, we have so many EC2 instances running. Guys, did I told you that how to stop the EC2 instance automatically at the particular time? What service we can use for that automation? Lambda, na? Okay, now you tell me, Chitri, does the Lambda has access to go and stop the EC2 instances by default? Each service cannot talk to, that meaning they don't have permissions to talk to each other, first of all. Now, how do you tell to AWS service called Lambda to give access to this EC2 instances? Will you create a Lambda IAM user? No, no. What you do? You create a role. And role need what permissions now? EC2 permissions. And attach this role to this Lambda. And this Lambda now have power to go and stop the EC2 instances because you have given the permissions. Understood? Okay, the roles can be used like this for the services also. I'm telling you, another guys, all these things you don't get it in anywhere. I'm telling you, all this deeper real time, whatever we are doing it in our offices, you don't get it anywhere. 100% experienced people, yes or no? You don't get it for sure. Let me give you one more example for you. Let's take, this is Reyaj's AWS account. And this is Khalid AWS account. Okay. Yes, no need to attach Shashank because the Lambda has to do the work, not EC2 instance. And if you need the EC2 from the EC2 instance, if you want to access AWS services, guys, EC2 from this EC2 instance, if you want to access S3, then you need to attach role to this EC2 instance. Understood? Okay, I'll give you one more example for this role. See here. This is Riyas's AWS account. This is Khalid's account. So now Khalid is not from my organization. He is a third party guy. Third party provider, or whoever it is. Right? You cannot attach, Kumar, you cannot attach directly the policies. Directly policies you cannot attach to any service. One second. Policies can be attached only to users, to the services, groups, like this. Okay, let's not divert. See here. So Khalid is not Khalid is not from my company. And now Khalid asked, hey, Riyaj sir, I want to access your AWS account. So what is the ideal scenario in order to access my AWS account? Create an IAM user. But the thing is, I don't want to create an IAM user here. No. I don't want to create an IAM user. No, because he is not from my company. I don't want to create an IAM user. So then what is the concept that you will get it in your mind? As Sagar said, yes. Where I should need to create a role? Here. I need to create a role. I need to create a role called Khalid role. So now I need to ask, right? Khalid, what kind of services that you want to access from my account? Because Khalid want to access my account, right? And I can ask now what exactly that you need. And Khalid said, let's say for example, Khalid said, I want to access your S3, or I want to access your um, S3 or RDS or whichever it is, based on a requirement. So I need to create a Khalid role and give what kind of permissions? Whatever he needs permissions, I can give to him. Yes or no? And remember, for every AWS account that you create, there will be something called account number or account ID. Yes, every AWS will have every account will have its own account ID. Every account. I'll show you when we go into the demo. Okay. And guys, now you need to, while creating a role, you need to provide Khalid's account ID while creating a role. So now, once I create this role, now in Khalid's AWS account, there is a concept called switch role. There is something called switch role. Once you click on switch role, guys, there will be a URL generated here, right? I will give this URL to him. Once I give the URL to him, and he can access my AWS account using this URL or role URL or switch URL role. Yeah. Using this role, he can access it. So guys, now you understand how the roles can be used. Did I created any IAM user, etc., or keys, provided keys to this to the Khalid? No. So how can I access the AWS accounts using the concept of roles? So guys, roles will be used security purpose? Yes or no? Yes. Now I understand the whole concept of the roles with many examples. So once the role has been created for the third-party people, the URL will be generated, and that URL you need to give it to the third-party guy so that he can access your account using that role. Yes, Siddharth, right. Understood. Chitty, you eaten my time. Everyone clear, CC? One role can be attached to multiple. Okay, now good. So now let us talk about another thing called identity provider or federation. Identity provider or federation. There is a question, how long he can access it? Is it temporary or permanent? Guys, the role. If you delete that role, gone case is gone. If you did the role, it's gone. If you keep it, it will be there. If you delete it, it's gone. It's up to you. It's temporary, or it can be, it's a temporary only, because the third party provider will not be permanent employee in your company. Nah? Okay, so identity provider or federation based on the permissions, Smith. Guys, there is a question, is it read only or write as well? The role. What is your answer? The role is read only or write? Yes, based on the policies that you have created, you have attached it here to the role. Requirement based. Guys, have you heard about SSO? Single sign on. Single sign on. Single sign on. So many people, most of the people might have already used this, but they don't know. Guys, whenever you go to Google or you're searching for nice websites, and there you want to see something, if you register only, if you register only, or if you create an account there only, but do you have that kind of patience to create an account in their website? No. But whenever you see that, there is something called login with Google account, login with Facebook account. So with the Facebook account, with the Google account or Gmail account, automatically the new website there, you will go and register it. Yes or no? That meaning with one single Gmail account or Facebook account or Yahoo account, you can access multiple website or services. With one single sign, you can sign on to multiple things. Understood? That is called single sign-on. That is called single sign-on. And how this is useful in our scenario is, let's say, for example, guys, whenever you join any company, what is the first thing that you get it? You will get your email ID and password. Don't tell me tag and all, huh? Email ID and password. So this is the company. Outlook account. So this is the company. So we'll get company email ID and password. Guys, and if you want to work AWS environment, for that AWS environment also, you will get separate IAM username and password. Na? Is your company email ID and password, IAM username, password, both are same or different? It's different. So you will get the company email account, company email ID or password, you'll get it. And you will get AWS, credentials. And with the credentials, you will log into AWS. Yes or no? This is how we do. So how it would be like with directly with the company email ID and password, how it would be like if you log into the AWS account. So instead of handling multiple credentials, so guys, with the same company email ID or password, you can log into the AWS account using the concept called SSO. This is a concept called SSO. So this will be done using the combination of your company network administrator and your AWS guy. So guys, for this, have you heard about experienced people? Okta, OAuth, Zero Auth or OAuth? Huh? Have you heard about all these things? Yes, those who are already working in real time know this. Because see, using this, you don't get IAM users created. No, you will have your own company email ID and password. Using this combination, they will be logging to the AWS account without credentials. Without credentials, they will log in. So actually, you don't need to go this much deeper here because this is handled by your company, right? But guys, for this, I need to tell you one thing here. See, okay, imagine this is a company. Guys, in your company, there will be having so many desktops, na? Workstations, workplace, so many desktops or so many workspace desktops. Are you hungry? Why I'm not getting responses? Then we have so many desktops now here. Okay. Now you will get your company email ID and password, guys. Can you tell me? Now Kranti came. Kranti can able to log into this desktop with the email ID and password. Yes or no? Yes. So if Adarsh came and can he log into this desktop? Yes. Anusha came. Can she log into desktops? So one person can log into this desktop? Yes. And multiple people can also log into the same desktop? Yes. That meaning, can you tell me, do you think that 100 users will be created over here inside this desktop? Is that good? Guys. So everyone are able to log into the desktop. That meaning every user is created in this desktop. How? And then later, whenever you log into this desktop, here also I need to create 100 users now. How many desktops are there? Those many 100 users I need to create on each and every desktop. Is that good? No. No. So how does the desktops knows? So Nitesh came, Sajia came, Shashank came, Sai came, everyone came, and they are able to log into the same desktop. How does this desktop know your email ID and password or username and password? So do you think the usernames or password are created inside the desktop in every desktop? Answer is no. So for this, there is a concept that Windows administrators people knows that already. So there is a concept called there will be a big common server which is called domain controller, or many people knows this using the name called Active Directory, or using the name called LDAP, right? AD. People call also as AD. So, guys, there will be a domain. If you're working in Infosys, there is a infosys.com. Or you are working with a boom company, there is something called boom.com company. There will be a domain called boom.com. So here in this server, you create users inside these servers. And these users here, you call it as domain users. You create a user called here user 1, user 2, user 3, user n. So like this, you create multiple users in this domain controller. And guys, now what you do, guys, I'm talking more advanced things here. And then all these desktops will be joined to this directory, joined to this domain controller. All these desktops will be joined to this domain controller. All these things is joined to this domain controller. Guys, joined. So once all these desktops are joined to this domain controller, now whenever the user one has logged into desktop one, all the requests will automatically go in the backend to this domain controller and say that, hey, user one, are you there? Yes. What is the username and password? Does he provide the correctly or not? Yes, correct. Then only you can log into this desktop. If the username password is not correct, domain controller will say that a username and password is not correct, don't log in. So will not log in. So all the requests will be going in the backend to this domain controller. This is also called it as Active Directory. So guys, there will be a huge team, big team to handle this Active Directory. It's a very, very big topic. But in our AWS, this is now get automated using a service called directory services. Write down what is the domain, what is the Active Directory services in AWS called? Directory services. Directory services. Directory services. Guys, why I said this, why I discussed this? Because this is a company, right? This is a company, and this is AWS. This is AWS. So if you want to log in with user one, guys, if you want to log in with the user one, this is AWS. So let's say user one is there. Do I need to create call IAM user one here for SSO? Answer is no. Understood? Answer is no. So this company people has something called Okta or OAuth or or Active Directory. Just now I said na Active Directory. So they will create the users over here. Create users here. Guys, first of all, what they do is they will be establishing the connection between this and this. Right? That is called federation. First of all, there will be a federation happening, na? Connection established to a connection. First of all, they should establish the connection between the company to the AWS, na, guys. Once you establish a connection, then you create a users in Okta here. And then as the connection is established, you need to create a roles over here. Let's say dev role or DevOps role, right? Or admin role. Every role will be created like this, and each role will have their own policies. Yes or no? Role meaning definitely will have its own policies, right? Right. So Okta, these are all third-party single sign-on tools, SSO tools. These are all SSO tools. And guys, and then you create a user called, let's say, for example, you create a user called here user one, and this dev role you can attach to the user one. So without creating any IAM user in AWS, you can use this concept called Okta OAuth. This is using SSO. You can do it within single user called user one. You can log into the AWS company. You can log into your own company with the same domain user called user one. You can also log into the AWS account. You don't need to handle multiple concepts. For this also, roles will come into picture. Guys, understood? So guys, actually, these are all out of our syllabus. All these things, whatever I discuss about the switch roles and all these federations is all out of our syllabus. But as you know that I'm liking this batch a little bit more. So I'm giving more and more inputs. So it will be very useful for you. So by the time you join any company, this setup might have done already for you, but it is easy for you to understand. Whenever someone talk about SSO, then you should really understand what I have discussed, and you should not be a new to this topic. For that reason only I have discussed. So in yes, first users will be created in the domain users domain here, and then they will be connected. You can go with the Okta also, or you can go with the Active Directory also. You can create users in Okta also, or you can create users in Active Directory also. No issues. In what case? In what cases can we go for IAM user and IAM role? IAM user, if you want to log into AWS console in your company, go with it. And roles, if you want to do some automation, if you want to give for third party people, go for the roles for security purpose. Any other questions? Actually, I could have finished one more topic also. There is no time. Any other questions? Now you tell me, is it possible to do practicals on this SSO? Guys, is it possible to do practicals on SSO? No, because you need to have the company environment, you need to have Okta, blah, blah, all these things. No need. So uh, just you should, I should not, you should get more knowledge, right? For that reason only, I have discussed all this. Rest, everything will be doing it. Take the screenshots. Yes, Deepika, for one role, we can have multiple policies. That's what, no? Yes, one role can have multiple policies. Here, we discussed this here. See, I have written here, I have multiple policies. For Kiran role, I have given S3 policy, EC2 policy, multiple policies we can put it. Let me know once you took the screenshot. Okay, second one. Done. Next. And the last switch role. Done, na? Good. In the example, you create AWS user with your name. What kind of user was it, please? It's my name. Where? Where? Where did I create with my name? So guys, one can take the screenshot and you can put it in the group. This is AWS account, just an AWS account. Good. So guys, can you give the final CC for today? Oh, master, I love that. Only one, Rahul. Who is that? Yeah, very good. Great. So that is all guys for today.